welcome back for the fifth time to your new favorite Magic the Gathering Mono Black Draft Chaff themed podcast, Bogstompers. We're your hosts of the coast, and this would usually be the time that we do a little round table around the room, but unfortunately today it looks like we're a dastardly duo here. I'm one half of your hosts for today, Joe Joseph Joey, as has been memed upon by my co-stars of this excellent program, pronouns he, him. And what horrible happenstance has occurred where only one bog stomper is present besides me, Bobby?
Hi, well, I am Bobby. I use they, he pronouns. And Joe, I have a note here in my hands. I don't know where Evan is, but I have this note. I'm gonna open it up right now. Let me see here. Oh God.
Oh yeah, wow.
It says, Joe, it says that Evan is trapped in the cave. A group of beasts has taken him. And they have demands. All right. They'll let Evan out of the cave as long as we grade the top 15 beasts on EDHREC.
Well, if that's what the beasts demand for freeing Ev from the cave, and who knows, maybe somewhere along this journey we'll also find a way for Gimbal to stop messing with my microphone.
That would be nice. Are we sure? I mean, let's weigh the pros and cons here. We could let him... Ev is probably grooving with the beasts.
I mean, Ev's a big beast head.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen Ev with some beasts in my day. He's an owner of, one could even say, a cat beast. And
well, I think
him and that Felidar, they get along like firecrackers.
If we free Evan, we give him the choice either of spending his time with the beasts or spending his time with us. So I guess that is the moral thing to do, perhaps.
Yeah, and that would really open up our schedule to record more episodes just in case his thesis takes longer than we thought.
Smart,
yeah.
Smart.
Really convenient for the beasts. Let him take his final art school projects with him to the cave.
It's good timing on their part, and we thank them for that. And I think maybe you'll see that reflected in their grades. Let's find out here.
Yeah, we can grade on a curve. We can pump up some of these lower numbers.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's the thing with Joe and I.
Right into it?
I think we do. I think the thing with Joe and I is we're always kind with our gradings of cards. We really we really give them the benefit of the doubt.
I want to say the joke that we're really generous, but I think the funnier thing is that we average to a mean a lot. In that I will look at some pretty bad cards, and as long as their effects are repeatable and on rate, like a Jade Mage, I'll be like, this defends a slot in your deck. But if it's too good, I'm like, I don't know where this card's seeing play. I don't know where a new GT fits in the Commander format.
Jade Mage is certainly a card. All right.
That was the backup for this episode, lovely viewers. We were going to debate the merits of Jade Mage. Okay.
Do you want to get into some real? Yeah.
Why don't we what do you call it? Tennis this back and forth.
That sounds good.
Volleyball it.
Yeah.
Perfect. I'll start. First of all, we have the 15th most popular beast, according to EDHREC statistics, collated by Scryfall, is Nalfeshni. A 6 mana, single red pip, creature beast demon. Ooh, okay, so we're tainting it a little.
Yeah.
With flying, and whenever you cast a spell from exile, copy it. You may choose new targets for the copy. If it's a permanent spell, the copy gains haste, and at the beginning of the end step, sacrifice this permanent. It becomes a token. With a 4/6 body, and some pretty wicked Sam White art. Bob, what's your first interpretation of Nalfeshni?
This doesn't seem like a beast to me. I guess this actually brings us to a good crossroads, because are we grading them on a scale of beasts or cards? Because I think this is a fine card. You know, I have a the Abaddon the Despoiler deck. You know, it plays cards from exile. This is a crazy card in that, you know, if you hit it off a Cascade and cascades some more, you're gonna win that game. Or at least assemble a board that makes everyone afraid of you and then you do nothing, which is, you know, just as much fun. But this is a synergy piece. This isn't a beast, right? Like, I don't know.
I was hoping you'd bring this up.
Yeah.
Now, keep in mind, dear listeners, I was combing over the list earlier today, just on my own time, because I obviously didn't know that the Beasts would send that note to me and Bob.
Good happenstance. Good fortune there.
Every few days I go through each individual creature type, and that's not even a joke. I was looking at this, and it came to mind that me and Bob, we've been playing Dungeons and Dragons. I also thought about this for 10 years now. This is our 10-year anniversary of playing in games together.
Wow.
So we're not some of those other Magic content creators who see Baldur's Gate cards and AFR cards and think, okay, I guess this is a beast. Like, we know what a Nalfeshni is. We know that it's a demon that sort of mirrors aristocracy and mocks it and has this faux sense of royal appeal, and that's where the beastliness comes. It's that same sort of instinct, that inspires Beauty and the Beast. A thing comes to mind for me is the Flesh Eater courts from Warhammer. Similarly, also, there's like the traditional depictions of the bourgeois as pigs. It's that beastliness to wealth. And I get that thematically it's very beastly. It's like, oh, it's furred and winged, and it's supposed to draw on that iconography, but like, no, this is a demon. This is just a pure demon. This isn't very beastly at all. And I think that's important. I think it's part of the rubric. When you were like in middle school and you'd be given a rubric that's broken into 4 parts and each you'd be ranked 1 to 5. Being a beast is at least one of the 4, if not the entire rubric.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. I agree with your assessment of this reads more demon than beast. I think in all of those comparisons you draw, like, you could say beasts, but I think they mean beast in like the demon devil sense of the word, not beast as in the big fuck off monster, which I think is how Magic normally uses beast. We will see the rest of this list, and it doesn't. It's not. There's no metaphor for beasts. Beasts are beasts. They're big and angry and green and red, and this feels just demon. As a longtime D&D player, as Joe said, I don't... nothing in the monster manual. Maybe someone's going to point out in the comments, and I encourage you to do so. Someone's going to point out in the comments there's some line that says they're actually demons and beasts or something in the monster manual. But until someone brings that up to me, now Feshnias are just demons. They don't need a second type. They don't have a second type in D&D. I guess that's because that doesn't entirely exist in D&D. But yeah, and just mechanically, I guess it's a 4/6. It is flying. That's not really a beast associated term. It seems like it's borrowing so much from the demon side. And what's the beast side giving it? Like a fairly decent body? That's not even true. It's a 6-mana 4/6. That's not the going rate for that effect. I don't deny that this is not a good card.
Flyer?
Yeah.
It's there's you were talking about the dual types, and there's all kinds of things to be complaining about across the D&D sets, because Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast are hydras of organizations. Like, why isn't the Fey Dog a Fey Dog? Why is it just a dog? The Blink Dog, that's what it's called. Why are gnolls not hyenas? Why do we need a whole new creature type for that? Why is Illithid not a new type, but Beholder is? There's all these weird little hypocrisies, and Nalfeshni is I think, kind of just another victim of that same instinct where Magic really struggled to try and find creature types that were good 1-to-1s.
Yeah.
And plus, kind of everything has beastly qualities. It's inherent to being an animal. Like, you could even make arguments that, like, some of the angels have qualities that resemble animals, namely apes and birds. Like, as long as we're defining beast as, like, this sort of amorphous collation, they're kind of chimera in Magic in a way, where they just have, like, weird little animalistic traits grafted on top of each other, and we'll see that more later on.
Yeah. I think,
honestly, yeah, you go.
No, I think of like other source books for TTRPGs. Like the Pathfinders is called the Bestiary. Like everything in there's a beast. It's the monster manual, and I think the most synonymous term for monster in Magic the Gathering is beast. That's why on Duskmourn all of the beasties were all of the monsters, the beasties were beasts, right? I don't know. There's no monster creature type because we have beast, and at that rate, you could make everything in the monster manual a beast, and that seems silly. But Joe, you were
If,
gonna were
if
you
there's
gonna
a
yeah.
if there, if there's a more specific term, you should use it,
Mm-hmm.
and they did here. They chose demon. Um, and I'm glad you got that little edge in there because it'll guide us philosophy as we
Yeah.
continue onward. But
What do you want to grade this thing,
I'm
Joe?
comfortable giving this an F. Like I think it
Wow.
failed.
Oh, really?
I think I just look at this and I say not a beast.
Well, because here's the thing. You said it's only part of the rubric, and it fails on that side of the rubric, and I think it fails pretty hard. And mechanically, it's a good card, but it doesn't feel very beast. But I think it still is a good card, and on that merit alone, I want to give it like a a D plus. It's trying. It's
Want to
yeah.
meet in the middle? Give it a D.
Yeah, that sounds good. We'll shake on it. All right.
It didn't quite pass.
Yeah.
Like it turned in its homework, and we were like, "Well, you did it in crayon.
Yep.
Let's try and do better next time,
Yeah.
but not outright fail him."
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. And what is next? As I'm gonna write this down on the note so we can when we send it back, so we can hopefully get Evan back. But okay, up next it says we have to grade Garrick's Pack Leader. This for viewers at home is 4 and a green, 5 mana for a creature beast. Whenever another creature with power 3 or greater enters the battlefield under your control, I guess just enters at this point, you may draw a card. It is a 4/4. This is a beast. Look at that. They fixed our big complaint with Nelfeshny. Joe, what do you have to say
Everything
about
about this screams beast.
Yeah.
Color beast.
Mm-hmm.
Art beast. Type line just pure beast. Body beast. Effect cares about big things. That's beastly. This is a beast.
Yeah. And he's next
He's
to Garrick.
staring even at arguably the most beastly planeswalker.
Yeah, Garrick makes beasts. He's like
If you took any kind of magic creature and put it next to Garrick, it looked 20% more like a beast.
yeah, agreed. There's the I don't know if it's on this list. Let me check if it's on this list. Dude, there's a massive thunderstorm outside. Hopefully you don't hear that. The beasts are growling. Oh, you don't see it on this list. I forgot what it's called. It's one of the I believe it's the intro pack rare. It's like Garrick's Horde, I believe. And I think of that art a lot. Of Garrick's not on it, but there's just a bunch of beasts on there, and that's what a beast is to me. There's just like all sorts of weird creatures that you can't necessarily classify, and it's like, yeah, those are beasts. They're coming at you, and Garrick, there's so many +1s, -3s of Garricks that make 3/3 beasts. With Death Touch, without. Garrick's a beast guy, and this is very beast.
I'm almost disappointed dissecting this card because there's nothing. All right, we have to set our ground rules here.
Yeah.
Right. We're using popular internet tier list rankings from F to S.
Mm-hmm.
No double S's, no triple S's, no S pluses, unless I break our own rules because I fall in love with a creature too much. This is we asked for a beast, we were given a beast. Stand out of its class. Like this is the rubric filler. This is the icon. This gets held. If you turned this beast in the future, your teacher would hold on to it and then say, for the beast assignment, I want you to make something like this. It's great. Does that make it an A? Does it make it a B? The fact that it's just a model but doesn't do anything special? Do we save A for like 100s and then 110s are S's? Like, what do we do here?
I think this is a big part that you're missing, which is it cares about creatures with power 3 or greater, and it draws cards. That maybe it's just because all of the beasts in my head are based off of this beast. Like, this is the original. This is like right when I'm getting to Magic M12, M13, you get this guy in your intro deck, right? That ability, caring about that specific power, seems very beast to me, which is why I think this goes like a little bit above. If this was just a 5 mana 4/4, I think it's still good. It's still perfectly beast. But I think because that it has that ability, I'm willing to give it an A. I don't think it's S. I don't even think it's an A plus, but I think this is a solid A. If you put this down on the battlefield, I'm gonna go, wow, that's a beast. If you read to me that ability, I would associate it with a beast, you know.
He's not only a beast, but also a beast whisperer.
Yeah, wow. Deep. And that's magic.
I did notice that.
Yeah.
I'm honestly, if you let's do a quick example here. Woolly Thoktar, not going to be on our list today.
Mhm.
I would rate that like a B beast.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty good. Like it's an 80%. So the fact this has an ability,
Mhm.
I think I could see that.
Yeah.
Even though like I'm kind of underplaying it in my sales pitch here, I could see that bumping it to an A.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, A, shake on A. All right,
Straight
great.
up A.
I'll
All
write
right.
it down.
Garrick's back leader. A.
All right, what have we got next, Joseph?
Oh Jesus fucking Christ!
Oh,
I forgot
no.
this stupid card was on the
Oh,
list.
God. We don't have to talk about it.
No, we do.
Yeah.
Loot, Exuberant Explorer. 3 mana, single green pip. For a legendary creature, Beast Noble. Of course he is. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. And then for 4 generic mana and 2 green, and tapping Loot, you may look at the top... you're required to. Look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card with mana value less than or equal to the number of lands you control from among them and put it onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom in a random order. And Loot's a 1/4. Bobby, I don't want to talk about this fucking Digimon, so why don't you kick us off?
This card fills me with great fear. I think viewers at home are not going to be shocked that I think Joe and I are both displeased with this card's beastliness. But I think, friends, that it fills me with fear, not just because it is kind of objectively horrifying. Looking at it invokes feelings of capitalistic intentions upon our wonderful, wonderful, innocent little card game. But the fact that this list, if we did it in 2-3 years, could be filled with beasts. You just know that at some point we're going to go to Planet of the Loot, and there's going to be all sorts of loot guys there. They're going to be hanging out. And, friends, the top 15 beasts on the EDHREC page are just going to be pictures of this little creature, this cretin who insists on being a beast, but is not beast. Look at this little orange pipsqueak and tell me that thing is a beast. That's a loot. I don't... It has an Azusa ability. That's a human ability. It looks at top cards. That's not what... This is far too complicated to be what beasts are about. Joe, give it to me straight.
You're right.
Yeah.
I think a beast can max out at maybe like 5 lines of rules text. If you put more than that on a beast, it has to be damn beastly. Like it has to earn those extra rules text lines. I fucking hate his tail. His tail sucks. It's probably my least favorite part about him. I hate his big dumb mouth. I hate that he has sharp teeth. I hate that I own a small furry homunculus in its image and that it's staring at me as I do this monologue. I don't know why it's Azusa. I don't know why it's popular. Why are people putting this in their decks? Unban Caracas just so I can bounce this to hand in Commander. I want to build a deck that's entirely focused on killing loot as many times as possible in some kind of dark, fucked up aristocrat strategy. Its body, so unbeastly. A 1/4 is not a beast body, especially for 3 mana. Beast Noble has been done once successfully in Lovestruck Beast.
Yeah.
I get it. That's fine. That's cool. Loot deserves neither type. Loot's type should be, I don't know, fucking Pokemon, okay? We should not... Its type should be not in this game. Error 404, you tried to cast a spell that doesn't exist.
Ready? What if it was legendary creature child? What if they black bordered child?
They actually already did.
Oh,
Infinity has black bordered eternal legal children. Yeah, you can. You can send children to the front lines.
I can name children with my Phyrexian dreadnoughts, or whatever they're called. Oh, that's
yeah. You're talking about the plague carrier.
like yeah.
Yeah, you can. I hate this fucking thing.
It's awful. I don't like its smile. Why is he so happy? He spends the entirety of the story either getting captured, being captured, or being saved. It is not entertaining. Listen, we on this podcast are a big fan of the Jason Vraska like storyline, the
Oh yeah.
relationship. I'm even a fan of them adopting a kid. Like that's cool. Loot is not cool. Loot being like the MacGuffin, so he's not actually anything. He's not a significant player in Jason Vraska's relationship because he's just a MacGuffin for the plot. So we can't actually have any significant character moments. He's just nothing, and he got 4 cards in a year.
To be fair, I do like Loot as Jason Vraska's adopted child. I do like that they confirm that Jace is laying pipe through his existence. Like, I love that we now know they went at it till the room stank. But he didn't have to look like this.
Yeah.
He didn't need to be babysat by Winter. He doesn't have to have that stupid fucking tail. He doesn't need to be a map to the universe. He didn't need to be contained in a vault. And all of Thunder Junction should be retconned. F. Below now Fasciano. Like, I don't want this in my game.
Yep.
F.
Get it out of here. All right, let's move
Okay.
on to something that a saving grace.
Oh,
I think they're a little, and you know this even has 5 lines of text, but I think there are 5 straightforward lines of text. We're gonna get to them right now. Thunderfoot Baloth, 4 and 2 green, 6 mana for a creature beast. Nothing else, just a beast, pure and simple. 5/5 trample and a lieutenant. As long as you control your commander, Thunderfoot Baloth gets +2/+2, and other creatures you control get +2/+2 and have trample. Simple, clean, perfect, delightful. Joe, what do you think?
My God.
Yeah.
Flavor text. Odd. I didn't see any lightning. The Thunderfoot Baloth is outside your dorm room.
Whoa.
We gotta move on.
Yeah, let's hurry up before
Baloth.
I have my own last words.
Perfect beast text. Everything I want to see on a beast. Big, trample, green.
Yep.
You can't fix perfection, okay? I like to pretend I'm a white player. In my heart, green kind of has subsumed white. This is what I want to see on a card. I own this card. I own multiple copies of this card. I want to own more copies of this card and play more of it. He's big. I spend 6 mana for probably a 7/7 trample. Full text. I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
I don't even care about the rest of the stuff on this card. That just makes it better, and it's not any harder. I think the thing that makes Beasts a really good deck, from Onslaught to Slinza, is its simplicity.
Yeah.
You can put any new player behind a Thunderfoot Baloth, and they'll get it. And this is a good, clean beast design. Looks like a beast, acts like a beast. What else is there to say? Please say everything else there is.
And I think the new player not only gets it, but it's interesting to play. I think sometimes the problem with Big Stompy is that it's just that. You put down a big guy on your turn and pass. This is like, no, you kind of want to like plan out your turns, plan out your plays. Like, do you want to surprise people with this? How do you make sure your commander is protected before you get this down? How big does your board want to be before you get this down? It's kind of like permanent overrun will definitely put you in the archenemy seat. It's an interesting card without not feeling like a beast. I think beasts need to be straightforward. Even if they do have a lot of text, which arguably this does, it needs to be straightforward in what it does. It needs to be big, dumb, and stupid like a beast. And this is that. I'm so fine with giving this another A.
I love that this requires sequencing.
Yeah.
There is genuine tactical choices to be made in the order you're casting this in your commander, especially depending on the mana value of your commander. If you've got a big commander, this like essentially becomes a haste threat. If you sequence your turn for this first, and then next turn you play your commander, out of nowhere it just becomes a 7/7 overrun online. But if you have a small commander, you can kind of stall this out. Additionally, it is fragile, and that also has its own inbuilt set of strengths and weaknesses and tests of player skill. There's a reason it's in a precon, in that it has enough depth that it's interesting for new players, exactly as you said, but it's simple enough that new players can grok it. Ew, God, that word is so ruined now. I agree. Hey, I think this is a solid, maybe even A plus.
A plus. I'm willing to give it an A plus. If you are, yeah,
I think I think if we're looking at Garrick's pack leader, I think this is an A plus
yeah. All right.
because it's fightier and beasts are all about fightier.
Thunderfoot Bailoff, you are an A plus. You're the top beast right now. Joe, let's see what else can beat it.
Okay, this is interesting. I do. This is going to be an interesting one. I want to hear your first thoughts on it, which is good because we've set up for that in our little back and forth. Felidar Sovereign, 4 and 2 white for a creature cat beast with vigilance and lifelink. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you have 40 or more life, you win the game. 4/6. What are your thoughts?
I don't know if this is a beast. I think this is a cat. It feels very Felidar. That's the thing. The Baloth is a very special kind of beast, and I feel like Thunderfoot Baloth feels like a Baloth. Felidar Sovereign feels like a Felidar. Felidar do happen to be beasts, but do they feel beastly? And we're getting into real pedantic territory here. This is an annoying card, a frustrating card perhaps, a card that you either need to remove on site or just hit them for a bunch of damage. But if you're playing a life gain deck, like there are some decks that just play this and win, and it's turn 6, and it kind of sucks. But yeah, that is neither here nor there. I'm more thinking about this as a beast, and I think it's fine, but I don't think it is stand out. I think it's very middle of the pack.
I could kiss you. I have the exact same thought process where this isn't very beastly, but it's very Felidar. And Felidar, because they've been in 3 Zendikar sets, we've seen them on a Vishkar multiple times. They're in OTJ even. The fact that they're so multiversal and they're so magic makes me kind of. I'm looking at this on that sort of rubric style scale we're seeing again, where I think half of it kind of is nailed just due to the legacy of Felidar and Magic, the fact that they've always been beasts, that they're iconically beasts, but also they fail the other half, that the one that they don't pass, because it's not so similar to, the Onslaught legacy of beasts, which eventually like becomes Slinza, because becomes things like Woodland Liege and Wirewood Savage, Advocate of the Beast even. I I'm it's hard. It's a tricky thing to thread. I do like it is annoying that this can come down and like just win the game. But I feel like that's kind of iconic for beasts, a big haymaker card at the end. 6 mana, I slam this on the board and it has a big impact probably. So like the game warps around the Felidar Sovereign, and that's true of a lot of cards, so we can't really say it's everything, but a lot of other creature types warp the game in different ways, right? Your zombies deck slamming down a rooftop storm is a different kind of win condition than a Felidar Sovereign like being so linked into your one creature. Honestly, Thunderfoot Baloth is a Felidar Sovereign style effect, right? It's like you need to answer this now or I win. And that's pretty beastly. Even I think this is like a middle of the pack. I think this is like a B somewhere, like a C plus all the way up to like B plus territory. Like what are your
I'm willing to give it a B. I think the timing is what matters here. And Joe, I thank you for the big wet sloppy kiss, because I appreciate it. Last time we started feuding, and I think the beasts have really come together and brought us together, because I think that there's something different from Thunderfoot Baloth winning on the combat step to Felidar Sovereign winning at upkeep. That doesn't feel beast. You are correct in that it feels like, hey, these are 2 6-mana cards where you play them down and they warp the game around them and you become the threat and you win. And it does have to do with combat, right? Like your opponents will attack into you, but you're on their defense, and that doesn't feel very beast. It doesn't feel like this is coming out of nowhere and attacking. It feels like it's sitting there perched on its rock and hopes that you don't do anything with it. So yeah, I'm willing to say this is a B if you're willing to say that.
All right, yeah, we'll give it a B for beast. Felidar Sovereign. We like what you're doing. Try and act a bit more like your older brother, Thunderfoot Baloth. And you got Chutzpah, kid.
So,
All right.
yeah, up next, we do have another beast that is another creature type. This is Cultivator Colossus. This is 7 mana, 4 and 3 green, for a plant beast. It is trample. Its power and toughness are each equal to the number of lands you control. And when this creature enters, you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. If you do, draw a card and repeat this process. Joe, what do you think? I think this is one you can have a lot of hot takes about, but I think an opinion is starting to form in my brain.
Pros and cons. Pros, big. Pros, green. Pros, trample. Those are pretty beastly.
Yeah.
Lands, more plant. And I could see a card with this exact rules text printed as just a plant. Even with this exact art, even. I could see them refusing to add beasts to this. So, it's kind of like the inverse of the Felidar Sovereign here, where rather than the rules text equally applying to two types when they're together in synthesis, this one kind of feels like a either or, where there are elements that are just beast and elements that are just plant, where Felidar Sovereign as a Felidar, all its rules text is like, this is a cat beast Felidar.
I'm gonna try to convince you. I think there's
Okay.
one aspect that makes this very, very beast. After it comes down
Yeah.
and does its enters trigger, it's just a big guy, right? This is no like yes, it is a giant wad of text on it, no room for flavor text, but it just comes down and does its thing and beats face after that. Sure, you do this drawing card shenanigans, but we've seen draw cards before. Like Garrett's Pack Leader, we graded that pretty highly. After you do this thing, it is just a big trampling guy, and that I think is what cements this. Not into like A tier, but I think it's around B, maybe a B minus. I'm willing to say because it's just, it's a creature and not just an enters thing. It is going to be just a big beast that is going to hit people in the face for a lot of damage.
You have convinced me. That is a really good argument, I think, defending this beast's honor. I do want to counter with additionally, I think it's too complicated. I think there's too much text. Yeah. I think the effect of like draw land, draw land, draw land is like, that's not really super beastly. Once the enters trigger is done, you basically can't get a better beast. Also a bigger beast, because it gets bigger the more lands you play. And even that is that's a cool thing for a beast to be able to do. But that first initial moment it's on the battlefield, I could see it as so many other creature types that I think you're exactly right. I think we gotta knock it down to like a B minus.
B minus? I'm willing to do C plus, but I think B minus is good.
I think B minus is because I don't want it too far away from Felidar Sovereign.
Yeah.
I don't want Felidar Sovereign to just cruise off of being a Felidar. Like, it has to earn it, and I think the fact that this is close to being like a pretty honest to goodness beast, warrants that it's still in B tier.
Good. It makes it earn it. All right, great. Yeah, that sounds good to me. Not the last Innistrad beast we'll see on this list, but Joe, what's next up for us?
Quartzwood Crasher. 2 mana, 2 red mana, and 1 green. So we've got an uneven mana cost here for a creature, Dinosaur Beast, with Trample. And whenever one or more creatures you control with Trample deal combat damage to a player, create an XX green Dinosaur Beast creature token with Trample, where X is the amount of damage those creatures dealt to that player. And it's a 6/6. Bob, what are your thoughts?
My thought is that I am, I love Evan. Maybe we're glad that he was taken by the beasts because we would have to listen to him defend Ikoria, and I'm not interested in that shit. this is a dinosaur. They threw Beast on there because it's Ikoria, and for some reason, Wizards designers thought that if you do mutants, you could just have kind of two types, and then it showed the wildness of Ikoria or some bullshit. But no, it's dinosaur. It looks like a dinosaur. It looks like a magical dinosaur. It's the Nalfejni demon beast thing, where it is just a demon with beastly qualities, so they called it a demon beast. This is a dinosaur with beastly qualities, so they called it a dinosaur beast. Uh, I don't. I'm not. I understand it's a big guy. It comes down and is big and does big things, but it feels very dinosaur. There's something dinosaur to me about a creature that makes tokens that are its same type. That's what a lot of dinosaurs do. Uh, I'm not entirely interested in this. It's a cool card, but it's a dinosaur.
Maybe I'm just channeling Ev, but I think you couldn't be more wrong. Quartzwood Crasher here is probably the most beast we've seen so far.
Wow.
It's it's both color
Mm-hmm.
identities that are commonly associated with beasts, right? It's a red-green card. It has trample, that thing that we've been ravishing
Yeah.
from all the other beasts. We've been hyping up. It's a 6/6 for 5, so it's above rate. It's a big body, like that's iconic. It rewards you for having other tramplers like beasts. And buddy, I don't know what you're talking about with that tokens line. To me, dinosaurs are not the token type. There's only a few dinosaurs that make tokens compared to beasts that iconically have cards like Thragtusk, the cornerstone of what I would imagine beast gameplay is like. To me, Quartzwood Crasher is honestly, I was going into this with like this is our first
Mm-hmm.
S.
Wow.
Like straight up this I love this card. Um Ikoria, I love its attempt at being a typal set by printing one companion that cares about creature types, and then for some reason making the entire rest of the set typal in that line of rules text alone. Um, I think it's goofy. I think it's dumb. I think Ikoria is just a field of aborted mistakes that WotC
Mm-hmm.
attempted and utterly failed at. But Quartzwood Crasher coming out of it, I don't know what you're thinking. I think everything about this card reads so strongly beast. Like this is the beast.
I think you've convinced me a bit. I think that there is something about it specifically making XX tokens that doesn't read Beast. Beast tokens being very definitively either 3/3s or 4/4s. 3/3s coming from most cards, 4/4s coming from a card we'll talk about later, is very important to the Beast token subset of cards. We saw, Garrick's Pack Leader cares about 3 power, right? There's a lot of 3 power beasts out there. And I think the fact that this is XX, that this makes you do a little math, a little calculation, is the part where it enters dinosaur territory to me. I understand that beasts obviously make tokens. Beasts have trample. Beasts are oversetted creatures, and maybe it's the problem that dinosaurs just occupy a lot of that same space. And sure, card can be used in both of them, but I think you got to pick a lane because I think they're too similar. I think it's something about the art too. The art is very cool. I love these antlers, but I think the art screams magical dinosaur to me and not beast, even though its effect could be construed as beast.
I think the art reads as beast to me because it's a quadruped with hooves.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that it's like a very clear T-Rex style creature that they've then said actually also it's running on 4 legs and has hooved feet. To me, I like the synthesis here. When I first looked at this, I was like, this is just a dinosaur all those years ago. But nowadays, when I look at Quartzwood Crasher, it I think this is a perfect Magic card. Honest to God, I think this card is one of the best designs to come out of recent memory
Wow.
of the few years ago, I should say. That sort of era from like Kaldheim, Ikoria, I don't want to say standard because I don't remember
Mm-hmm.
the standard rotation,
Yeah.
but that era of Magic design, I think this is one of the standout cards that like I'm still thinking about today, especially as a 5 mana 6/6 trampler. Like that's so beast.
Yeah. Joe, you haven't exactly convinced me. I'm not gonna like support you on an S grade, but I see the argument, and I don't feel strong enough that this is not beast, because right, it's the same thing of like this could be a dinosaur, this could be a beast. It's not that like Nalfejni, this is definitely a demon they attached beast onto. It's like I see that this is a dinosaur and a beast. It feels very much like 2-3 dinosaurs put together, but I'm willing to give you some I don't know leeway there. What about like A? Are you fine with an A here?
I'm satisfied with an A. I do understand where you're coming from, especially when you remember that most dinosaurs in Magic were initially typed beast or
Sure.
lizard beast. From the raptor on Tarkir to the original ones in Onslaught Block to that one from Conspiracy for some reason that they were like, hey, let's put a dinosaur on Fiora.
Mm-hmm.
So they have the same legacy, like they inherit from one another. It's the classic dwarf goblin problem. How do you distinguish two small red creature types from one another? You're not falling on deaf ears, but I don't think another creature type being similar enough to beast detracts from it.
Yeah.
I think it almost adds to it.
Fair. I think of like
But
Beast in Show from
yeah,
Infinity. Like there's the one Beast in Show art that's very dinosaur, and it's like where do you draw the line
Tyrannex.
exactly? Yeah.
It's the Tyrannex from Mirrodin. Okay.
Yeah.
We've exhausted a lot of time on Quartzwood Crasher, and I will waste more time. So, Bobby, if you didn't like a beast being another creature type, you've got a kicker up.
All right. Let's talk about Hydroid Crisis, folks. Now I know people are gonna hear that name. The people who played Standard. What is this? However many years ago, I don't want to say how many years ago. Our Return to Ravnica was only 2 returns. Pardon. This is X and a Simic. For
Yeah.
creature.
Don't mistake this for a creature jellyfish hydra beast detective.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Though they should have printed that. This is a jellyfish
so
hydra
funny.
beast. When you cast this spell, you gain X life and draw X cards, rounded down each time. It is flying trample, and it enters with X counters. Havoc is a small price to pay for data, and of course it's a 0/0 base stats, as most hydras are. I don't know. This feels very Cultivator Colossus, and I don't know how exactly that'll come down here. Joe, what's you're racking your brain?
I think this is I don't think this is anything beastly really at all. The fact that it has trample, I do like that. Easy plus for the beasts here. Everything else I don't like. It's below rate. No matter how you cast this, you're going to be 2 in the drain on its creature types. Has flying. Beasts generally don't do that. That's not how they do their evasion. It's things like trample, and if not trample, mana. It instantly draws you cards. Like, this is like a brain geyser. And honestly, if I had to ever think of an effect that is the antithesis of beast, pay X mana and a blue to draw cards is the opposite of what beasts should be doing. Gaining life? No, they should be causing your opponents to lose life. This is a Hydra. This is just a Hydra. It's a green-blue Hydra. Honestly, I could even make an argument that this should be a Bant Hydra. Nothing about this screams the sort of Gruul decks that you want to be playing it in. Even if you could splash the blue, depending on the format, this just doesn't match the vibes. Counters also similarly. Not a beasts mechanic. Beasts don't tend to add counters. A few do. A few do. But they usually are very honest, like, on the surface of, like, this is my power toughness. Maybe it gets bonuses, but they don't actually modify it by counters. Nothing about this reads as beast to me. It's funny that it's a jellyfish. Haha, silly. But this is a Hydra.
Yeah. I think that the big thing that's setting me off is the cast. It's when you cast this spell, not when it enters. I think there would be something about the enters having a similar like Cultivator Colossus style effect of like it enters, it does a thing, it that is then a big guy. But I think because this is mainly like this isn't a big guy. Oftentimes this is gonna be like 1 mana, 1/1 draw a card and just cycle. That's kind of how it was played. You just like play a small one, play a medium-sized one, play a big one. And I think Big Beasts wants to play a big one, play a big one, play a big one. And this isn't playing into that exactly. Yeah, I think that there's something about it being. I do like that it is jellyfish and hydra, and I think it is cool that it has a third type. But what if that third type was like snake or something, or any number of
Hmm.
things? I think that I look at this card and I can't identify what of those pieces is coming from a beast. I don't
Yeah.
exactly point out to. It just looks like it could just be a jellyfish and a hydra. I think of adaptive snapjaw. I believe that is the Simic beast that most comes to mind. I love that iconic art from Gate Crash, and that is a beast. That is it has been so hybridized by the Simic that it no longer is associated with creature types. It is just a beast. But I think after that point, especially in Ravnica Allegiance, when they started having the Simic be more associated with Shark to Crab and things that were very clearly 2 or 3 creatures, this is just a jellyfish and a hydra. It doesn't have to be a beast, and therefore I think it suffers in points.
I have had a long-standing feud with Tarnos the Toymaker, because it doesn't fit in my bird deck, even though I love it to. So I've looked into, beasts that match that color identity. I think the most iconic Simic beast in, especially EDH, is Trigon Predator.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's our marker for what a Simic beast should look like. Even a Simic flying beast. There's nothing about this that I look at it and I'm like, this is a jellyfish, hydra, beast. I could see lizard, I could see octopus, I could see snake. I can't see beast. And I think it fails. I don't know if we want to give it like a pity point. I don't know if we should put it on the same level as like the hideous, awful orange abomination not named Garfield. Uh but maybe it does still fail.
Maybe a D minus. I don't wanna. Yeah, I don't wanna associate it with loot. Like there is a point where we're saying like, hey, this is one of the more popular beasts in its standard format. This, put some good beast representation on the board, but it's not entirely a beast by our standards. I think especially if we're grading this on Commander. So I think a D minus is kind, and it's showing like, hey, you have our respect. We understand what you're trying to do for the beast cause and the beast community, but we don't necessarily think that you co-opting our beast way is completely apt.
It's early problematic representation. It's the Rocky Horror Picture Show of beasts. I'm all for that. Okay. Blazing a path on ahead, we have Felidar Guardian. This is a creature cat beast for 4 mana, a single white pip. When Felidar Guardian enters the battlefield, you may exile another target permanent you control, then return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. 1/4.
Uh, Joe, I think you forgot. Doesn't it say not named Felidar Guardian in one of those clauses somewhere? Because they obviously they wouldn't print such a glaring design mistake as something that could go infinite with itself that was draftable in as an uncommon in a limited environment, right? Like that.
Um, I'm checking the Oracle text here. Oh, there was an update to
Oh,
the Oracle
great.
text. Let me hear.
Yep.
When this creature enters.
All
Oh,
right.
that's the only up.
Yeah.
Okay. Um. Oh, this isn't. Yeah, this isn't uncommon. Here's the question. We've already established what Felidars are like.
Mm-hmm.
Is this even very Felidar? It feels more cat to me. It
Mm-hmm.
feels more Teamer Sabertooth. Not the same
Yeah.
effect. Not by even leagues. But it's more similar to like a Teamer Sabertooth than a Thunderfoot Baloth. I don't see this as a really synthesized whole of the beast and cat elements that some Felidars have.
I have to agree with you. I think that this is a combo piece, first and foremost, that happens to be a cat beast. I think you could have stuck this onto any sort of creature. I understand that Felidar often have toughness greater than power, but I think there's something about the 1/4 of this. Like, dealing 1 damage is so not beast. This was used as a combo
I'm,
piece, not as a creature, and I think that's the big thing that's throwing me off.
it's the same reason we drug loot behind the
Mm-hmm.
woodshed and put that fuzzy little bastard down like the dog he is. Honestly, like, I'm fine with failing this. Like, I think this is just an F and we move on. There's nothing really exciting about this. I
Yeah.
love you, Avishkar. I love you, Cats. But I love you, Cats the musical and how it lost
Yeah.
$70 million at the box office. But there's nothing about this
Yeah.
that matters for our discussion here
Yeah,
today.
this is a Beast episode, not a Cat episode. We're sorry, Felidar Guardian. Next time, be more Felidar and less Guardian. Yeah, F. Let's do it.
All right. Take us to a really good beast.
All right. Ooh, yeah. I'm interested to hear your opinion on this one. We move ahead. I think just one set, right? To Manglehorn. Came in an Amonkhet. This is 2 into green for a creature beast. No other type, just beast. We haven't seen that in a few. It's a 2/2. When it enters, you may destroy target artifact, and artifacts your opponent's control enter the battlefield tapped. With a quote from Ronos, God of Strength, on that. That's pretty cool. What are you feeling, Joe?
I think this is our first representation of probably the final big important beast quality besides trample, big power, tokens. They fucking hate artifacts. Beasts go apeshit if you put a wristwatch near them. They will break into your house to bash your TV to the ground. And the fact that this is the most hateful effect for artifacts in the game, that so many commander players bitch and whine and moan and mauled over, this is the beast that you're probably running. I mean, it's top of EDHREC. This is the beast you're probably running even in non-beast decks. It's so good.
Yeah.
Don't love that it's small, but at the same time, you have to pay for that destroy effect, and that's a big beastly thing. Go ahead and keep talking. I love this. I think this is easily like our top of the pile.
Yeah, I like that you remind me about artifacts being anti-artifacts being a beast thing. Like I think of Fangren, Mauler, you know, as a card that hates beasts or hates artifacts. Pardon me, not hates beasts. But the smallness of it makes it like keeps it away from that S tier. I think it is either like low A, maybe high B. I think the fact that it enters and does a thing and does have like a small little text of ability. It's simple, it's clean. It's not exactly fun. It is game warping, and I think that's like a beast needs to enter, have a big effect. We've talked about that. But it enters, has a big effect, but it's more of an annoyance. It's pestering you for having artifacts rather than punching you in the face. And I think it needs to punch you in the face for having artifacts, which is, like, again, this is a great beast. And I'm saying cons here, but I think its design is great. I think that it represents beasts in such a way, but the fact that it doesn't punch you in the face for it is what's knocking it down. Maybe A- tier, B+.
I was going to try and convince you to go up to an A- on this, for the simple fact that, like, we have to respect the chain of nature, right? We have to, there's going to be small beasts. Not all beasts should be small, not most beasts should be small. The best beasts should definitely not be small.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's carrying its weight as being, you know, a plain beast, no other creature type, mono green, its design is super cool and very beasty. And also its effect is very beasty. I don't know if beast should be stacks pieces. That feels weird. Those two things don't perfectly go together, even if it's artifacts. Yeah, I think if it nixed like the second line of rules text, it would be honestly like I'd be totally cool putting this just A+.
Yeah.
But you're right. I think I'm compelled by your argument. I just want to see if I can tug you up to an A.
I think I'm willing to say I'm willing to say on this
Just
one.
a flat A?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
All right. Let's bring us to this next one. We're in our top 5 now. We got to go a little faster because, you know, these are some ones you've seen. They're classics. But I think we have some spicy takes on these. What's next, Joe?
You know these. Ravenous Chupacabra. 2 mana and 2 black pips. First time we're seeing black. Creature Beast Horror. When Ravenous Chupacabra enters the battlefield, destroy target creature an opponent controls. 2/2. Bobby, this is an interesting one. What do you think?
I think it's really cool how they're representing the idea of the Chupacabra in Magic for the first time in this card. I think that's fantastic for the setting. I like that we got a revisit of it in the second time we went to Ixalan. I think you're probably overplaying this in your commander deck. I don't think your commander deck needs this, but that's not what we're here to talk about. I think we're here to talk about what a beast is. This enters and does a thing, and then remains as a creature or a body who is a beast. But it's not very big. I think it is 2 below rate. This thing feels skinny and sickly, which it's supposed to. It's supposed to come in, eat something, and then kind of exist stalking the shadows. That is a way to be a beast in mythology, but I think in Magic, that does not feel entirely beast to me. Maybe I'm seeing like B in this just because it's a 4-mana 2/2. And I think most of the time it's just a 4-mana 2/2.
I actually also wanted to settle on B. I think that its simplicity, its ubiquitousness is like I like that it's sort of similar to Hydroid Krasis where like it represents the beast type across many decks. Cool, even in a new color. It's very straightforward, that thing we like to see on beasts. But I do like the narrative of this is a beast, it enters, and it eats something. Because that's what beasts do. The fact that it's just devouring something and then hanging out, it's cool. It's a little complicated. Beasts and horror are both really big catch-all types. So it's interesting that we're taking these two very generic things and putting them into something specific, and it really reads well in ludonarratively. I think that because it's a simple, straightforward design that's not too beastly, but kind of expands what a beast can be and does something that reads beast, i.e. has a little snack, I'm cool with this being a B. I think this is a well done, great job, 80%. You could do better, but we're glad that you put in the work you did.
Yeah. Yeah, let's say B and move on. Not a lot of text on this card, not a lot of time to spend on it. Uh what's next? Is this me?
This is your turn now,
Oh
and this is an
man.
interesting one.
Yeah, let's talk about Displacer Kitten. Kitten in the name obviously makes you think cat, and this is a cat. It is also a beast for 4 mana, 3 and a blue, pure blue. It's a 2/2 with avoidance. That's a keyword, so of course you all know it, so I shouldn't even read it. But it's actually a flavor text word or whatever the hell it's called. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, exile up to 1 target non-land permanent you control, then return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. Joe, is this a beast?
We're returning to this. Same thing. Like we are longtime Dungeons and Dragons players.
Yep.
We've killed our fair share of Displacer beasts. Would we, even in a post Baldur's Gate 3 world where they're so associated with Illithid, like call this a beast anymore? Like, I know why they did it, because in the original AFR, they were typed beast. But I kind of would rather see this as a cat horror, or maybe even like a cat illusion could feel right. This doesn't feel beastly to me, even though it's like a chimeric creature. It feels more eldritch.
Or just a cat. I could see this as just a cat. A cat that is a little scary and has magical powers, sure. But it's just a cat. They have tentacles and have magic powers to make you see things that aren't there. But it feels pretty clearly cat to me. Again, it's the TTRPG thing of a lot of these were designed to be monsters for you to fight from the monster manual, and they stuck beast on because it is a monster. But I think cat is a lot of the catch-all terms. Like, I don't know, everything about this thing is a cat. It is a magical cat, but we're playing a magical game. I remain unconvinced of this thing's beast status. And even if we're taking this as a beast, I think that its ability, and again, it's a 4-mana 2/2, and its ability don't read beast to me at all.
I do think there's something to be said about how it resembles Felidar Guardian a little. But even then, we gave that a bad grade. Like, we said, no, you're not very beastly. So, if it is as a beast, the most like the least beast, that is a dock against it, not a bonus. I'm cool with giving this baby cat an F.
Yeah, and I love this baby cat. It is adorable, but we're in a
Let's not
beast
start
list.
a riot in our comment sections. Obviously, yes, we like it. It's cute. It's cool. Don't come for us. Unless you want to come for us on Blue Sky, in which case we really got to bump up engagement a little bit. Thank you, audience. We love you. This is obviously we've spent so much time on this already for something that is honestly really a waste of conversation here.
Yeah.
Fun fact, it'll be the most expensive beast we talk about today.
Yeah, F. Especially because this next one got reprinted.
Indeed, that is why I thought it important to bring it up. My favorite. Friends, Innistradi, countrymen. Craterhoof Behemoth. 5 green, green, green. For a creature beast with haste, and when this creature enters, creatures you control gain trample and get +X until end of turn, where X is the number of creatures you control. 5/5.
Perfect. No notes. S.
How do you improve on perfection? Exactly.
I think my favorite part about this card is if you survive the initial onslaught, then it is just an 8 mana 5/5, which feels so beast to me. This is the most terrifying card. When you first get into EDH, this is the boogeyman of the format. People will be like, watch out, the green deck is going to play Craterhoof and win out of nowhere. They have 8 mana. And you go, that's probably fine. And then they play it and you die, and you're like, whoa, that was crazy. But if you don't die, you are facing an 8 mana vanilla 5/5. Sorry, not vanilla, it is haste, which isn't
It's
relevant.
a French vanilla.
Yeah. It is delightful, and this card is absolutely terrific because there are ways to survive. It is not just game over anymore, but it is so satisfying to play. It is honestly satisfying to play against, see how much blockers you have, see how the damage will be spread around. This is an S. Maybe, Joe, this is the S plus you talked about. I don't know. How do you feel?
I don't think you can make something so iconic an S plus in a way. Like, when you set the standard,
Yeah.
you're forever doomed to fulfill it. And that's like a kind of tragic thing. I love that it's shaped like an elephant in its most recent printing, even if that's technically a knock against it. The original Innistrad art makes it perfectly fine anyway, as does the charity drive art from the Secret Lair. It's triple green pips, love it. Like, that's so beast. It's so all in on that game plan. The fact that I love that it has haste. Like, there's nothing about this card that really on its own indicates like this is a hasty threat. But the fact that they're like, no. Actually, we need to give you 5/5 as well to attack in with. Because fuck whoever's on the other side of you. You just played Craterhoof. The fact that we've, for years after this card was like in the $40, $50, $60 range, called cards the affordable Craterhoof, from like Pathbreaker Ibex to Endrace Forerunners, the fact that everybody was trying to find the like quote-unquote next Craterhoof, and Wizards kept trying to print them before finally deciding, no, this card's just so good and cool enough that we need to print it into a standard environment with Llanowar Elves. This is S. Like, this is the perfect beast card. Like, no notes. You're exactly right. Everything you said is perfect. There is no praise we can fail to give Craterhoof Behemoth, and there's no falsehood we could say in praising it.
Yeah, perfect. Let's move on. Nothing else to be said. S. Let's go to Rampaging Baloths. What can beat Craterhoof Behemoth? What is played in more decks? Rampaging Baloths. Obviously, yes, we know this is the number 2 slot. There's still one more coming up. But this is 6 mana, 4 and 2 green. For a creature beast, trample, landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, you may create a 4/4 green beast creature token. 6/6. Done. Simple. That card description lasted 10 seconds. It was just... This is a clean... It has incredible art by Steve Prescott. This is the iconic beast art. Joe, what do you think?
Because Rampaging Baloths, iconic card. Any long-standing Magic player, you sit them down, you say, "Hey, can you read me not the flavor text, the rules text of this?" 9 times out of 10, they're gonna get something that's almost on point. They're gonna get the token size right. They're gonna get its body roughly appropriate, its mana cost, the fact that it's a landfall ability. Rampaging Baloths is woven into the fabric in the history of the game. That's why it's the number 2 most played beast on EDHREC.
It's in Foundations.
But it's in Foundations. But it's not a like boogeyman of a format. It's not a super iconic card that even non-longtime Magic players know it by heart. This is a role filler. This is a Crater of Behemoth might be a hero, but these Baloths are more than heroes. They're Union men. And honest to God, I think because it's kind of an understated card, I think this is our S+.
Wow. I honestly I agree with you. Yeah, I was gonna say this is the common man of beasts. I don't even think this is good anymore.
Oh no.
It
Oh no, I would not be caught dead playing this.
it's just a 6 mana 6/6 that's gonna die instantly. Maybe you'll get a
Yeah, I
beast
have
or
money
two,
now.
but if
Sorry.
you're playing a landfall deck, there are just more broken things you can be doing. Scoot Swarm pushed every other landfall card out of the format, but this is still a card people gravitate towards, and I think that's important. That we can all say, hey, this card's a little bad, and it is still the most played beast card on EDHREC, or second most, pardon me. That
Second
you know
most.
we adore this card and want to be playing it more than we want to be playing Craterhoof, and we want to be playing Craterhoof. And this card is worse, but we love it more. Yeah, I'm willing to do an S plus on you. That's great. Yeah.
This is yeah. I It is kind of a sad thing to look back on. It's like visiting an old friend and you start to see the wrinkles in their features because they're a little older than you are. You're reminded of happier days when you both were sprier and didn't have jobs. The fact that you've outgrown them and have disposable income, so you're not wasting money on bulk commons, bulk rares, I should say. It. I don't think there's any other beasts on this list that are evoking the same kind of nostalgia for a simpler time.
And
And that's beautiful.
yeah, I think of the fact that this is a rare now, and it used to be a mythic. You used to open this as a mythic, and you were fucking thrilled about it. You're like, I'm gonna slam this card so many times down on the table, it's gonna get a reaction every time. And now it's a rare, and something about that like it rubs you the wrong way because it doesn't feel it feels like, hey, you're gonna get outclassed by a card that has 4 paragraphs of text on it, and that's fine, that's Magic. But oh man, this was the shit back in the day.
And I do think we give it shit for being a landfall card because it sucks absolute ass in the landfall era of Field of the Dead and Necrobloom. But like it's still an honest beast card. I could see so many Taunos decks resolving this at the table. I could see so many Slenza decks
Yeah.
playing it, and so many Radagasts and Jol Rails. This is an honest beast.
Joe, what is our last honest beast? Because there's one more beast at the top of this list. It says that it's the king of all of the beasts and perhaps all of the creatures in Magic the Gathering. What's this final
Oh.
beast?
Oh, it's so big. It's shadow being cast across the bog as it wades over us. Oh, we really have to appease this beast, or else Ev's never leaving the cave.
Oh,
It's
no.
it's 4 black
Mhm.
for a 6/5 creature beast. Okay, great
Yeah.
start. It's just a beast. We don't
Yeah.
have to worry about being tainted or anything else. And
What does rules text say, Joe?
all right, so that's its rules text.
Oh,
And its name is Bogstomper.
holy shit!
What
Yeah,
notes do we give Bogstomper, the #1 beast on EDHREC and also every single deck in real life?
I think it says something about because obviously when we started this podcast, Bogstomper was not the most played card on EDHREC, and now it is. So I think it shows how much of an impact we've had on the format. So I'm really happy about this beast. I'm glad that we get to talk about it. I'm glad that it captured Evan so we get a chance to talk about it again. And I'm glad it's going to be returning him to us so that he can talk about it because, damn, this is a good ass beast. And I think its simplicity, it comes down, it enters, hits face. This is a delightful card.
It's cute. It's lovely. It was reprinted multiple core sets in a row because WotC knew the kind of power they were playing with, that it really needed to drive down the price, and it succeeded. That's awesome. This is a beast of the proletariat.
Yeah.
Absolutely anybody can afford this beast to add to their collection. There's nothing to really even dwell upon. What should we start talking about the fucking sunset? Should we talk about rainbows and roses in bloom? Like, this is beauty. What do you want us to say? This is poetry. Go look at the art.
Yeah.
Jason Felix, give him a follow. Just push money into his hand next time you see him on the street for Bogstomper.
Yeah, for a Bogstomper. I think I'm writing this down. What's the grade we're gonna give this guy?
S double plus?
S double plus. I think that makes perfect sense to me. Yeah, I'm writing it down. I'm scrawling it in my own blood. We're sending it off to the cave. I'm gonna give it to this little arboreal grazer who came and brought it out to me in the first place, and hopefully we get Ev back after his art finals, which I don't know why they're doing the exposition in the Beast Cave, but wherever it gets the most traction, I'm really excited about that. Joe, do you have
Okay.
any final Beast thoughts?
I'm really, really thankful that we've hatched the scheme to convince Bogstomper it's the #1 beast in the game, so it'll give up Evan.
Yeah.
Still, yeah, that was a pretty successful time spent. We had nothing better to do this evening.
Yeah.
This was obviously the best use of our time, saving our friend and the best beasts in Magic. Tune in eventually.
Yeah.
Back at our normal release schedule when we're done with this. How should we call it? Beach episode of
I think
Bogstompers.
arguably Beach episode, arguably the most plot relevant episode to date. This is where
Well, that's what
the
Beach
canon
episodes are.
exactly. This is where a lot of canon moments start. We're in 20 episodes. We're gonna reference how we're members of the rebellion against the Bogstomper, who is I'm not gonna spoil it. This is where it
Sozin's
starts.
comment.
Yeah.
This is Sozin's comment. This has been a ride and a treat, and maybe even some of the tightest discussion we've had on the entire podcast. But obviously,
You'd be surprised.
We'll see how this makes it out of the editing booth. Thank you very much for listening, audience. Again, we'll be back with Ev next week, hopefully, next 2 weeks, in our normal release schedule. Yeah, take care. We'll have the lovely dulcet tunes of our resident composer play us off. But until next time, we'll see ya!
Bogstompers, a Magic the Gathering podcast, features art by Jay Howley. You can find him at The Howley on Instagram. Our theme song is written by Alicia Chapman. Bobby Fasciano edits these and gets them online. Hey, that's me. None of this would be possible without viewers like you, so thank you, and see you in the bog again very soon. Peace.